And welcome back. Well, whether it's not making the team, it's not getting that high ACT score, or a relationship breakup, teens face a lot of disappointment.
Yeah, some say it's just part of life, but it can be hard to navigate these letdowns as a parent. How do you sympathize with your kids, but also make them see it's not the end of the world? There's the challenge. Dr. John Duffy is a clinical psychologist who specializes in kids and parenting. He is also an author. His newest book is just about to hit shelves. It is called Parenting the New Teen in the Age of Anxiety. And we'll tell you more about the release of that and how you can get your hands on a copy in just a minute. Great to see you.
Great to see you guys.
Following up on the available parent.
Yes.
So I feel like this book about anxiety is very now.
Yes, things have changed in the last several years since I wrote The Available Parent, and now kids have all these stressors from social media, their social lives, parents, academic pressures, and there's more depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, attention problems that these kids are suffering now. And so parents have to be way more than available now. They have to be on top of things. They have to know what's going on in their kids' lives. And so I thought I better put something together that kind of walks them through issue by issue how they can manage this thing. So I'm really proud of it. It's an important book, and I think parents ought to read it.
Well, and you should be. You should be proud of that, because I think it is so different. And I was joking during the tease. I said, buck up, get over it, you know, because I feel like that's a lot of the way many of us were raised. That's what my mom would say to me. She'd be like, oh, get over it, you know, or whatever it would be. But it's different now. Teens, they talk about things. There's much more conversation. There's much more emotion.
There is.
And I feel like my question is whose responsibility is it to learn coping skills? Is it the parents' responsibility to teach that? Because I feel like in this day and age, that's what's necessary and missing.
That is such a great question. It's a parent's responsibility to facilitate it. So way too often as parents, we want to step in and, you know, I'll make the tough phone call to the teacher. I'll fix it for you, you know. And we are robbing our kids of the ability to prove themselves capable, competent, and resilient, and then they go out in the world unarmed. So the more we do that, as much as we feel like that's good parenting, right? I'm taking care of my kid. If we do too much of that, then our kids don't feel equipped, and they feel like, oh, you have no confidence in me. You have no confidence that I can manage this on my own clearly, or you wouldn't do it for me.
I need rescuing.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they doubt their own instincts and their own abilities to cope, which is probably true. Disappointment is something that very few people escape in life without experiencing some of it. How do you feel like disappointment is affecting kids in today's world? Disappointment
has a massive impact on kids. What we forget as parents is that our kids don't have the scope or breadth of experience to recognize if I'm disappointed in this moment, it's going to get better. So a lot of kids feel like, oh, this is going to be catastrophic and lifelong. This is the end. So we need to present them with opportunities where they recognize that's not the case, that things are going to be okay. But that means less intervention, probably, not more. A lot of support, but not intervening and fixing, allowing them to feel the disappointment and the whole process that disappointment brings, and recognize, oh, I can make it through this. I'm going to be all right.
What kind of disappointments are you hearing? We mentioned some of them earlier that I think typical ones that we think of as adults. Are they different? Are they the same?
Yeah, so a lot of them are the same, the breakup and the, you know, the bad grade on the ACT, and my friends are not hanging out with me anymore, but now there is social media related disappointment. There's that idea like, oh, there was this party and I see it on Snapchat, my friends didn't tell me about it, or my friends are vaping or juuling or drinking, and nobody made me aware of that. So it's broader than it used to be by a significant margin.
Yeah, it gives you this outsider feeling that maybe we didn't have access to. That emotion as easily.
Yeah, we just didn't know.
Right.
Ignorance
is bliss.
Exactly.
And the disappointment, I think, for parents, I feel like it's important to understand that that disappointment is real, that there's a sadness, there's sometimes a grieving or a mourning that comes with disappointments. Like you think about kids not making a team, for example, their hearts are often broken.
Yes, and to try to mitigate that and make it not that big a deal does your kid a disservice, because the process of being disappointing and really feeling all the feelings around that, and then recognizing, oh, maybe I'm going to be okay. The smoke clears a little bit. Maybe I'm going to be okay. And then recognizing, okay, I think that time has passed. To allow our kids that whole process, we can stand by as guides, but we can't intervene too much or we're going to rob them of that opportunity to feel the whole thing. And feeling the whole thing is the whole idea when you're parenting.
So how do you let them fuel it or feed it or feel it without fueling it? You know what I'm saying? Like because you want to allow them to accept feeling that way, but not fuel it and make it more dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to pile on.
Right.
So you want, and parents do this a lot, right? They'll say, I'm disappointed in you as well. What I often encourage parents to recognize is you don't need to do that.
They know.
Your kids are very aware. They're aware if they've done something disappointing, if they've let themselves down, that idea that, you know, I'm down on myself, that doesn't let up very easily, and it usually leads to some kind of self-loathing. You don't need to pile on to that. Your child is doing plenty of that.
Great point.
Yeah.
I just want to say one quick thing, and then I want to move on to our book, and that is, I think one of the mistakes parents often make is we put down other people. Like, but she made the team, and she shouldn't have.
Right.
But you can't believe he did better on that than you did, because you're so
better
much.
than they are.
I think putting down other kids is a big mistake.
Big mistake, right? I mean, because this happens our whole lives. What we have to recognize about disappointment is we're not just setting ourselves up, our kids up for this moment right now. It's a lifetime of these disappointments are going to happen. I'm going to have to navigate my way through.
Yeah.
And if you mitigate it by putting somebody else down, you're kind of modeling something pretty awful, right?
Yes, you
about
are.
like, you know,
No
if I
self-responsibility.
don't get the promotion 10 years from now, well, that I should have, and you know, like, so there's no self-improvement there. There's just blaming.
Self-improvement. The title of your book, Parenting the New Teen in the Age of Anxiety, a complete guide to your child's stressed, depressed, expanded, amazing adolescence is the full title. But I love
brief
that.
and catchy, isn't it?
What is wrong with these kids?
I like that.
Yes.
I do.
Well, and we wanted to end with the word amazing because there is a lot of information in this book that is not the greatest news for parents. There's, you know, all of these new stressors that kids are exposed to. But the point is that they've developed a sense of empathy and caring, and they're awesome people as well. So there's no reason not to be hopeful. So if you follow a few of the guides in there, your kid is going to navigate his or her way through this with you together in a really adaptive, useful, relatively happy way. This can be done.
So these are specifics on how to handle it?
In every single chapter, there are specifics on what parents can do.
But it's not available yet.
It's available on Amazon. It is not printed yet.
Oh, okay. So it's like a pre-sale?
A pre-sale on Amazon up until the 15th of September.
All right.
Wonderful.
There you go. drjohnduffy.com is where you can find out more, and obviously the release in print.
Yeah, and the foreword written by Juliana and Bill Ransom.
Yes.
Good for you.
My good buddies.
Great to see you.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you as well.